Okay.
And were you surprised the Cowboys won?
I wasn't really surprised for the simple fact this is a division game. Philly is not the Philly of last year. And the Cowboys, if they when they play, when they run the ball with Ezekiel Elliott, because defensively they're fundamentally sound. They can get after your quarterback, they can stuff the run. So we know what they're capable of on offense. The thing is that Zeke got going last night, which means instead of throwing into windows, Dak was throwing into open doors. And when you let Zeke go for 35, 32, 18, 15, 13, he's over 100 yards on 5 carries. Well, it makes it very difficult for you to play the pass because now the safeties must jump down. Linebackers are biting on all fakes. Whether you hand him the ball or not, they got to step up. They got to honor him because they got to try to shut out Zeke. And Dak threw the ball. I thought he missed some throws early, but they stuck with it. And when you can run the ball and they were getting, 28 rush attempts, 171 yards, 6.1 yards a carry. But Dak, when he needed to make throws, he came up. If you look at right before the half, Phillies think they're going to be able to get the ball back. They used their timeouts, and Dak hit them with 2 big throws that really kind of broke the game open and gave them some breathing room. Because I feel if they had punted that ball there, I think the Eagles wouldn't go down and at worst case scenario get a field goal. But give the Cowboys credit. The offensive line looked as good as they've looked all year. Defensively, they were flying around to the football, even though they only sacked Carson twice. They put a lot of pressure on him and give Carson credit for standing in there. But I don't think in the first half he was as sharp as I've seen him. I know he can play better than that, and he kind of picked it up. And even as he picked it up later in the game, the third and fourth quarter, Skip, he still threw some balls that were behind the receivers, and guys made tough, very good catches for him. But give the Cowboys credit. That Jalen Smith. Now, the tackling Dutchman, Skip, you can see all of a sudden, you like the tackling Dutchman. But
My turn?
No.
Okay.
But the spearhead, the guy that gets it, that Jalen Smith. When you look for a middle linebacker, you look for 2 things in a middle linebacker. Is he sudden and is he violent? Those are 2 things that you want. You look at all the great middle linebackers, the Ray Lewises, the Butkuses, and the Singletaries, and all these guys, Skip, they're sudden and they're violent. This young man, he's coming downhill, he's thumping people. DeMarcus Lawrence, he's good. It's going to cost them a lot of money, Skip, if they want to keep that young man. So give them credit, the Cowboys, and as you heard Zeke say, in order for us to continue to have any glimmer of hope that we can win this division, that we can get into the playoffs and have a home playoff game, this was a mandatory. They went to Philly, they took care of business, now they have hope. I actually am glad they won because there's nothing like to see excitement when you think something is going to happen and then have it snatched away from you. Oh, man, that does me so good. But I want you to have that intensity that you came out here with today, all that celebrating and looking at it. I wonder if we have that. Have that on Monday.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so, too.
So, Jenny, could you ask me the question you asked him 10 minutes ago or whatever it was?
Were you surprised
I'm
by
falling
the win
asleep
from
over
the
here.
Cowboys? Oh.
Jenny, I was happily shocked by what I saw last night because I was so wrong about it and so happily wrong. I said Philly 34-10. But what did Shannon Sharp tell me? Let's see, it was Tuesday morning after the Tennessee debacle on Monday Night Football. You told me you picked the Cowboys to jinx the Cowboys. Didn't you say that?
Yep.
Okay. Well, there was method to my madness, too, because I was so desperate. I was so deflated by what I saw on Monday night. I said, I got no hope except maybe just to go for broke here. I'm off the bandwagon, and I hope I will shame them into a better effort this time.
Hey, friends, Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo. And as always, I want to thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. You know what? I had a plan. I had a game plan ready to go. I know everybody thinks you just show up and, just sit out here. But I actually put in work, guys. I study. I get numbers, statistics. When I tell you guys something, I don't just pull it out of my ass and just say some stuff out there. I try and give you a reason behind it. Happily shocked. Now, I got to tell you, one thing I cannot stand is a fake-ass bandwagon fan. These people who give up on the team at the drop of a hat, I'm done. I'm finished. I'm out of here. Just like good old Skip Bayless here, who's talking about my Dallas Cowboys. I was pleasantly shocked. And he even goes on to talk about his boy Dak. You mean your boy Dak that last week you threw his jersey in the trash can and said you were done? Fake ass fans. And you know what? Wang Hu, dude, I put your ass on timeout. It wasn't one of these other moderators, because I am sick and tired of you dumbasses that are in here with the only thing you got to say is Dak sucks. Dak sucks. Well, I'm going to tell you something, because, see, I'm fired up right now. I am fired up like Chris Richard. Chris Richard was out there fighting before the game starts. You guys saw that little shuffling stuff out there? Chris Richard was in there mixing it up with one of the cornerbacks from the Eagles. That's right. Our coach was out there ready to kick some ass. And me, as a Dallas Cowboys blogger, I'm ready to go to war for my Dallas Cowboys and my teammates and my quarterback, Dak Prescott. Got it? Because I'm sick and tired of you guys like Wang Hu or Wang Hung or Wang whatever the F you are. That all you got to say is Dak sucks. Come up with some real material. Give me some statistics. Give me some numbers. Give me some facts. Because I'm going to tell you. Because you're going to learn tonight. You're going to learn right now. As much as you don't like Dak. And I know Dak's got some issues. Dak's got things to work on. He's got to get better at stepping up in the pocket. When he's under fire, he's got to understand, I got to set my feet and just let it go and take the hit. Because when he gets off of balance, you see the ball kind of goes off him. He's learning. This is only his third season. And you know what? In 3 seasons, not even 3 seasons, he's got 27 victories and 16 losses. I know he sucks. But I know one thing. He wins. And he wins with somebody who doesn't win with somebody not named Tony Romo. You understand that? We're talking about being handicapped by this coaching staff that everybody and their sisters will say, this is an antiquated, screwed up offense. The offensive coordinator needs to go. We're not talking about Dak Prescott being in, say, Atlanta, throwing to Julio Jones and Sanu and Calvin Ridley. We got a bunch of guys until we got Amari Cooper to throw to. Oh, and the guy who's teaching him played in 2 games in his professional career and got 2 losses. And speaking of losses, do you know how many wins Jason Garrett has had without Dak Prescott and Tony Romo? Do you? Do you, punk? Would you believe Jason Garrett without Dak Prescott or Tony Romo is 5-17? Let me say that again. Jason Garrett without Dak Prescott or Tony Romo is 5-17. Now I know you're not crazy about his numbers. You know, there's, like I said, there's things that you look at and say, I just don't know. He needs work. He needs a coach. But check this out. In his short 2.5-year career, he has 11 game-winning touchdowns. 11. And Lord knows he doesn't wilt from pressure. You don't see him go out there and you hear Tony Ono. So if you want to just come in here and the only thing you have to say is Dak sucks, take your Dak sucking ass the hell out. I'm fired up today. I'm happy about my team going in there because nobody other than myself believed they had a chance. I know chances of making the playoffs are slim and none. That every week from here on out is a playoff game. But I'm sick and tired of hearing all the negativity because this channel is about being positive. Now, I ain't crazy about my coaching staff. In fact, we may end up hopefully getting rid of him and moving on. Please let that happen. We may have done some stuff to buy him some time because, in essence, if the team ends up continuing to win and make the playoffs, you know what they're going to say. Well, they just needed some time to get it together. They needed some time. They needed some time to work out all these new pieces. And Jason Garrett and the course is the right way. No, it's not. It's not. It is absolutely, positively not. We need to go in a different direction. Get some new blood. Get a new perspective. Somebody to work with Dak Prescott. Because I'm going to tell you, if you get somebody who knows just a little bit about coaching a quarterback and teaches him, I'm telling you, you got something special there. He has no fear. Players follow him. He's a leader. He stays cool. When you look at him on the sideline, you can't tell if they're winning or losing. Ice cold. And the players follow him. Those are qualities that you cannot teach. He brings energy out on that field, and he never gives up. Now, you can hate on him and everything else, but I got to tell you, because I've heard some crazy shit. I've heard people say, I'll take RG3. I'll take Jameis Winston over him. You mean dudes that have never won Jack? Has Jameis Winston even been in a playoff game? RG3, who had one good season in 2013? Come on, man. Because, see, that's the 80% idiots out there that don't understand jack about football. The thing that they started doing yesterday, they started running the football. Last week, we didn't run the football the last 20 minutes of the game. We started moving the pocket around and trying some different things. We tried to stretch the field. And all those people out there that say that Amari Cooper was a waste of a #1 draft pick, I'm going to say you're wrong. I'm going to say you're dead wrong. Because what you want to get with the #1 pick is you want to get a guy who is a starter and impact player, a guy that will be a Pro Bowler. That's what you want to get out of a first-round draft pick. And if we didn't trade for him, we would be drafting a wide receiver in the first round, right? Because you looked at the guys we have, and Michael Gallup's pretty good, but he needs some more help. Right now, in 2 games, just 2 games, and maybe 7 practices with Dak Prescott in this garbage offense, this is what he's on pace for right now. If you take those 2 games, he's on pace for 88 receptions, 1,064 yards, and 8 TDs. Dez Bryant's best season with the Dallas Cowboys, 2014, 88 catches, 1,320 yards, and 16 TDs. And with that 2014 team, remember he had Tony Romo throwing to him. He had the best offensive line in football, bar none. He had DeMarco Murray rush for 1,800 yards. They were able to spread the field. Clearly, they had a lot more talent back there. So in 7 practices, he's on pace for the same amount of catches as Dez Bryant, who was the #1 pick. You could say we could have drafted, say, Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley, who has a NFL MVP thrown to him, who has a Julio Jones to look at, as well as a Sanu. His numbers right now for the season are on pace for 64 catches, 888 yards, and 12 TDs. So you're getting talent that has more experience right now than your first-round pick. So I'm okay with that pick. I'm okay if he continues to maturate with this team. I'm cool. I think that was a big pickup. And let me take a deep breath here and settle down. Wang Hu, are you ready to behave yourself? Is there anybody else that'd like to speak up? Because anybody else that want to talk about my quarterback, we can get you a shot. Anybody for a shot? All right. How about them Cowboys? What's up, Cam? Cam. I see Graham. I see Mitch. I see Elijah. I see JP. I see Miss Jackie. How you doing, Miss Jackie? Swaggy D. I see Davis. I see Jay Hart. How's everybody doing tonight? What a difference a week make. I got Zeke in the house. I got Jesus. I got Victor. I got South of Haven. How you doing, my man? I got Boomer Sooner. I've got OG. I got Edwin Cruz. I got Corey. I got Jay Hart. I got GMG. Andrew. Oh, Wang Hugh, you mean you're not talking about Dak Prescott? Yeah, Vander Esch is a beast, and we will get to Vander Esch too. And thank you, Wordologist. The backup guard silently played. Oh, that's another one of those topics I was going to get to there. I can't pronounce it. Xavier Sue, Fibo. Look, all I know is he played lights out at guard. And that was actually one of the differences in that game. Now granted, it's amazing because everybody said the Cowboys can't run against that defense. That the Eagles' defense is too good to run against. But having Amari Cooper helped to loosen up that defense just a little bit, and also because they ended up having two of their cornerbacks hurt. That's what I went into this game, and everybody said I was crazy. Everybody said, stop lying to everybody, Mark. You know the Cowboys are going to get blown out. And I said, you know what? I got a feeling that this is going to be the one that you're going to look back that's going to save Jason Garrett's job, because Jason Garrett is a survivor. Every time we think that he's dead, just like in Fatal Attraction, he jumps out of the water with a knife, ready to go ahead and get rehired. And I just had that feeling and it wasn't just my heart. I kept saying that the Eagles were going to be susceptible to the pass because those two cornerbacks are there, and that Amari Cooper will start working better with Dak Prescott because clearly he's got talent. The guy can move. He's got some speed. Dak's got to get better at getting him the ball because he overthrew him a couple of times and things like that. But I'll chalk some of that up to the coaching, and I'll chalk some of that up to getting used to the new guy. But clearly, that is an improvement. And by having those guys there, the safeties couldn't cheat up like they have been against the run. And you could see Zeke Elliott was eating. Zeke Elliott was eating all night long. It was just a thing of beauty to see. That hurdle play, if he could have just kept his balance and went in for a touchdown, that would have been the play of the year. So that was a big win. But the other problem with the Eagles is that wide nine defense. And what a wide nine means is your tackles and your ends are spread out wider so they can get more pressure on the quarterback. And they figured if we can get pressure on Dak, we'll get the safety in the box, we'll be able to stop Zeke, and we'll shut him down. But because they were cheated out enough, Xavier, whatever, okay, the backup for Connor Williams. Did you see early on where Fletcher Cox came through and he pushed Fletcher Cox out the way? I looked and I was like, whoa. Big holes that we have not seen in a long time. Punch Drunk Savage. Why won't Garrett Linehan go? Man, don't get that started, because you'll set Michael Anthony off. I do not know why they won't give Rico a chance, because when we get down in the red zone, that guy 6'8".
Scott Linehan is not like him.
Well, Michael has a point there, because
a little birdie told you that.
Yeah.
With the same reason
that he's too street and stuff for it. The same things you heard, or at least same things that I heard. Michael just reminded me. I got so much crap. I got so much crap that's in my head that I forget things. But when they were working on releasing Dez, the thing that I had heard was Scott Linehan just did not like Dez Bryant, and his thing was he was trying to ruin him for other teams. That he was a cancer in the locker room, everything else. But what's kind of amazing is, after just 2 practices with the Saints, they have embraced him. If they go to the Super Bowl, he's getting the ring. They already said you can rehab. You're getting paid. We're looking at bringing you back when you're healthy. And this is a guy they said that was a cancer and was messing up the team. And in the game, every time they scored, and they scored a lot, The Saints were throwing up the X after 2 practices. So the same things we heard about Des Bryant, we hear about Rico. Rico doesn't know the playbook. Rico doesn't block well. Rico doesn't have route discipline. But you know what? I got to tell you, guy that's 6'8", who can jump, who's used to catching the ball because of basketball. I got to tell you, I might want to just put him in the corner and say, look, your spot, you see over there? In the end zone there, right there, to the right of the helmet, I want you to run over there in the corner, and I want you to jump up as high as you can because we're going to throw the ball up only where you can catch it. Okay? Quarterback, throw it above the 5'10" cornerbacks. Throw it up high, make him jump and get it. You understand what I'm saying? You find a way to make a person work on your team because, and shout out to Archery there, who's a Redskin fan. Congratulations to your Redskins.
I thought
because
maybe
the Redskins
I could feed the fire in Philadelphia of overconfidence.
4 starters on their offensive line. They grabbed guys off the street, worked this week, put them out there, and they found a way to win. They didn't complain and say, oh, woe is me, we'd have lost. But, no, man, they grabbed some people off the street and plugged them in and won. Now, I don't know that they're going to be able to do that all season. That's the hope that we have, that and I think they lost another offensive lineman yesterday. But the hope is that they come back down there. We got to play them and everything else. But there's hope. We still control our own destiny. And every game is a playoff game from here on out. So all those fans out there that said, we're done with the Cowboys, I'm going to stop watching. I hope you're not coming back to watch. Don't come back and watch because you already said the season's over. You're done. Don't come back now and say, yeah, my Cowboys like Skip Bayless. Because I got to tell you, I've never been much of a Skip Bayless fan. But he's in here trying to come up with some bull crap. Oh, I was trying to play reverse psychology on them and, basically say I was done to motivate them. They don't give a rat's ass about what you say. They weren't winning because you threw the jersey. Oh, my God, Skip Bayless. Oh, no, he threw my jersey in the trash. I got to play better and hope that he gets it back out of it. Man, come on. Come on, man. Skip? Are you crazy, Skip? Man, get out of here with that garbage. I hate fake fans. And look, I tell you what, Philly, fanatic, I got respect for you. I don't have respect for those other cockroaches that ended up being in here giving me crap all off season. But any of you that show up now, you're good with me. It's like Tommy the moron. He'll talk trash. He'll tell me Cowboys suck. He'll say Gak is garbage. But you know what? When he loses, he mans up and shows up. And I can respect a fan like that. But those ones that only show up, including Cowboy ones when things are good, don't need you. Don't want them. Can't work with them. Don't want them on my channel. So bye-bye. Now, I'm going to ask you guys your opinion on something. Because the news that broke yesterday morning was Scott Linehan. They had considered whether or not he was the guy in the offseason, and they considered firing him last week during the bye week. Isn't it kind of funny that came out game day? Does anybody else see that kind of funny? And then, of course, the rumors of Lincoln Riley being the next head coach. Anybody else think that's kind of funny? Or is that just me? Michael, do you think that's kind of funny that came out yesterday? No, I just kind of funny. Because a lot of people are saying, I mean.
Let me ask you a question.
What's the question, Mike?
I was thinking about this today. I might need to figure about it. If the current
Coaches?
we have on the offensive side of the ball allow Dak Prescott to be Dak Prescott and do what he needs to do to be successful. Got rid of the quarterbacks coach and played Rico more. Would you be okay with that?
You mean in them returning?
I'm talking about the current coach that we have now.
I'm sorry. I just want Scott Linehan to go. Okay, you know what? I'm afraid that here's this is what I said this in a video. Okay, Michael's saying basically, if they coach better, they use Rico gathers, they start doing more no huddle and stuff, start letting Dak kind of open things up. And I've got a theory on what's going on here, which I'll probably put in another video, but I'll give you a tease on it.
It makes sense.
If would I be okay with the coaching staff? Well, I quite frankly am just done with Linehan. I just am ready to have new blood. I'm really done with Jason Garrett. I'm ready to have somebody like I said, Chris Richard. You know what? Stephen Jones is basically saying, you know, we don't like our coach out there fighting before the game and everything else. But you know what? I believe in the same way, if you have a dog for 10 years, you notice how they say people and their dogs start looking alike? I believe that the players will take on the mentality of the coach. And if you, because, no, seriously, you look at Buddy Ryan with the Eagles. Buddy Ryan was a guy who just didn't give a rat's ass about anybody. He was a nasty SOB. But you know what?
Quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks.
But look what his defense did. Look at Mike Ditka with that defense with the Bears. Mike Ditka is one of those guys that'll cuss you out in a heartbeat. A former Dallas Cowboy. And I look at Chris Richard, and you can't say that defense wasn't out there thumping people and acting energetic and crazy like Chris Richard. Yes, Daddy won, Buck. Yes, Daddy won. Okay. And I believe those players take on that personality. And I look at Jason Garrett, and the offense has taken on that personality. Now, the bad thing is, and this is my nightmare scenario. I said this last week. I said, you know what will happen because Jason Garrett is a survivor. Jason Garrett always does just enough to give you hope. Because here's what's going to happen. I'm going to tell you. We may not make the playoffs, but we'll end up getting close. You'll look because, all of a sudden Atlanta doesn't look quite as strong after losing to Cleveland. They're in the same boat that we are. They've been up and down and everything else. Then you got the Redskins coming on Thanksgiving, which is always an advantage for us, who are beat up. Right? That gets you a chance to get it closer. You got New Orleans, who they're the best team in football, but you know what? Maybe, who knows? Maybe you lose that one. But then you got the Eagles at home, which is another game where if you win that one, that goes a long way. But after that, you got the Colts, Tampa Bay, and the Giants. You're going to get to 8-8, 9-7. I don't know if it'll be enough to make the playoffs, but what it'll be is, the team started gelling. Jason Garrett, went through adversity. We kind of got it together, got Amari Cooper. Might not want to change things just yet. And then he's back again. And I can see that happening because it's fatal attraction. Yeah, Mark Sanchez, I believe, was in Dak's year a lot more than Tony Romo was. But I wasn't there, so I don't know.
Either one of them were doing better than Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore's out there not doing nothing.
Well, Kellen Moore has 0 wins as a starting quarterback.
Of course he does.
Jason Garrett, I believe, has 1 win on Thanksgiving.
Boy, he was there in Detroit when they didn't win the game.
So let me get into some of your guys' questions. Of course, it was Marcus. Okay. How can we get a take on Kellen Moore out of there? Kellen Moore, I think, is strapped to the hip of Scott Linehan. Now, what's interesting is to see now you're beginning to hear all kinds of rumors and stuff because I used to look and say, well, Wade Wilson didn't exactly do a whole lot. And like I said, quarterbacks other than Dak Prescott and Tony Romo under Jason Garrett are 5-17. 5-17. So when you look at Dak Prescott being 27-16, That's a hell of a lot better than what he did with all his other quarterbacks. So you can't exactly say that the coaching that they're doing is taking guys to another level. And make no mistake that injuries are part of football. The Vikings on their third string quarterback, NFC Championship game. The Texans 2 years ago had Brandon Wheaton get them into the playoffs. So you got to be able to prepare guys, and that's the thing that a lot of people are questioning and saying that fundamentals aren't quite there, situations, and you can still look at clock management, play calling, and those things that are still problems. And it does not take much to be a difference maker in a football game. One or two bad calls, you're screwed. And speaking of bad calls, the Eagles didn't get not one penalty in that game. Not one. I've got to go back through. I wish I had more hours in the day because I want to go back through the game films because I remember Carson Wentz, and Carson Wentz, to his credit, got this pass off with people draped all over him. And they re-showed this play from 2 or 3 different angles. But you could see the offensive tackle's arm was literally wrapped around the guy's neck, and he's holding him from it. I'm like, damn, did you see that hold? And it wasn't called. I've seen ineligibles downfield, and it wasn't called. And I guarantee you there were some other holding plays that weren't called. Now, we were able to overcome these calls because it seemed like there was always calls against our Cowboys every time we started to get something going. Anyone who quits on the team are not true fans. I've been there through all the shit and will continue to be there for the Cowboys. Yeah, J-Man, I agree with you on that. But this is where I think I live Dallas Cowboys every day. But last year, when we were in the middle of the Zeke Elliott being suspended, the Cowboys had basically 3 of the worst games in the history of the Dallas Cowboys, and we looked bad. And I was on the fence thinking that maybe the best thing is the team loses so we can get a fresh start, so we can get a new perspective, so we can get a new coach in here. Because I look at Jason Garrett and I say, that's not the guy that's going to get us to the Super Bowl. Yeah, you're right on that, Ohio dude. Shout out to you too, all the way in Hawaii, man. I know you're enjoying the weather. But yeah, there was a face mask there. I forgot about that. Yeah, there were so many calls that weren't called. We just get no respect. Yeah, and of course it's because it's Cowboys. You honestly hope so we can go 6-10 and get some good coaches. Well, here's the thing. We know, I can tell you with this much, I know Scott Linehan's going to be gone. Regardless, Scott Linehan's going to be gone. Jason Garrett, it's a money issue now because he's got 1 year left on that contract. The problem with letting him go a couple years ago was he had that big-ass contract that you'd have to pay off. And he's family. So you look at it now and you only have 1 year left, you can kind of say, yeah, we can move on from that. Or like some people say, we'll just move you up to the front office. Frederick, have not heard any, so if you haven't heard any, I don't think he's going to be playing. I really don't think he's going to play anymore this year, maybe ever on that one. Oh, sign Earl Thomas. Okay, Tim?
Earl Thomas will be in off season.
I got to tell you, I was wrong. I was wrong. What we always hear with the Dallas Cowboys is negativity. Cowboys suck. Dak Prescott's missing wide receivers. He's leaving stuff on the field. Jason Garrett sucks. Scott Linehan's play calling, things like that. Rarely do we get told the good stuff. And when I told E2 Blue and DMV Dallas Cowboys this yesterday, they were like, really? I'm like, really? Believe it or not, Xavier Woods. Xavier lays the wood. In the NFL, with safeties that have played at least 50% of their team snaps, He is second in the NFL in yardage given up. Second. He's playing lights out just like Byron Jones. So when you look at that, the only thing they're not getting, thank you, Cowboys D. I don't think Jerry Jones watches, and if he did, he'd probably have me arrested for some of the things I've said. But I appreciate that. But when you look at what Chris Richard has done with this defense and these cornerbacks, because Byron Jones, people are already they were beginning to talk about that bust label on him. Far and away, he's the best cornerback in the NFL. Xavier Woods, second in the NFL in yardage given up. And Jeff Heath still has sometimes some math issues with some of those angles. But Jeff Heath, you got to say, has played pretty damn good. That whole defense, and that's why I'm scared that somebody's going to look and say, I want Chris Richard for my head coach. You don't think a Cleveland Browns wouldn't want somebody like that, especially those defensive players that they have? You don't think a Tampa Bay would want somebody like Chris Richard? Because, see, they're going to need to do something. I don't know what they did with Will McClay, but they're going to need to do something to make sure that he wants to stay and eventually take over the head coaching job. Pay the man. And this is also, too, where Troy Aikman last week said, you know, the Cowboys need a complete overhaul. They need to just tear this shit up. But I'm not sure that they do. I would love for Jerry Jones not to be doing as much Jerry Jones stuff. But I look at the talent the Dallas Cowboys have been able to put on the field. It's not big-name free agents that are signing. In fact, you look at our defense. 15 of the players on our defense are all homegrown, and by that I mean guys you drafted or guys you signed that were unrestricted free agents. Marcus Lawrence, I mean, Xavier Woods, Byron Jones, these are guys you drafted. This is talent you put on the field. This is talent that you got. You look at the offensive linemen. Now, they're breaking down right now. You look at the draft picks. You've got players. You've got more stuff to work with than most teams. You got a Zeke Elliott. And as much as you guys hate Dak Prescott, you got him in the 4th round. You didn't trade up and get multiple picks and get a guy who's a bum. You didn't trade up to get a Paxton Lynch who couldn't play. You found a quarterback who started and won 27 games for you in the 4th round. And if we'd had just a few plays in a couple of games this year, right now we'd be talking about how good the Cowboys were. If we had won against the Redskins, if instead of what we did to the Redskins, you see what we did on that game-winning drive where we marched down the field, right? You saw that, right? No huddle. Against the Redskins, we had over a minute to go and a timeout, and we settled for kicking a long field goal. We could have run 2 more plays. Could have tried to get a touchdown and win the game. We could have tried to get closer. Instead, we just kind of said, yeah, we're okay. We'll take the field goal. Our kicker will be automatic, and you get a penalty that takes you out of field goal range. If that game had changed right now, we'd be looking a whole lot different. Texans game. There's so many little spots here and there that you look at and say, if that was different, our record would be totally different. Well, Zach Ertz, okay, you can't, okay. Let's be honest on that one. Laments, I think I said, Lamentals. Zach Ertz was one of the main reasons why they ended up winning the Super Bowl last year. He led the team in receptions, just like Gronk did with New England. That's the thing we don't have. Tight ends now are key to your offense. We actually don't have that go-to guy when shit breaks down, which is another one of those things. We don't have a security blanket. When things break down, it's Dak is just, there's nowhere to go. You always knew that Jason Witten, when it broke down, Jason Witten was going to get you 7-8 yards. So, oh no, Joe Boo's still passed out. Listen, Joe Boo's fine. Don't worry, Karen. Joe Boo is fine. He was on the wagon last week. Oh no, we're putting the bag away, Mike. The bag's going away, at least for a while. So he didn't have anything to drink for a week. until yesterday when we turned him loose, okay? So he's just relaxing and resting, so don't worry. The second wild card is only going to be needing to be 9 or 10 wins. Yeah, that may be possible. And the good thing is Seattle losing yesterday, Atlanta losing yesterday, Carolina losing. All those things actually helped us out. If we can get a win over Atlanta, that will go a long, long, long ways. This game, make no mistake, here on out, every week is a playoff game. We win, we keep hope alive. Joe Boo's crunk as hell. I like that. What's worse, Dak holding the ball because nobody's open or throwing interceptions? Dude, you're right about that. And that's one of those things. We're not getting turnovers, but we're not making them either. And that's what's keeping us in our game. You could look at Tampa Bay yesterday, who was throwing, they had 480 yards of total offense, right? But you look at how many times they turned over the ball, and they scored 3 freaking points. So people are talking about, oh, yeah, Fitzpatrick, man, he throws it up. They lead the league in turnovers. And what are they doing? Not much. D. Will, I'm not sure that Shannon Sharp hates the Cowboys that much. Quite honestly, I think all of these dudes actually love the Dallas Cowboys because the Dallas Cowboys keep them in the news, keep getting them clicks. Without the Dallas Cowboys to talk about, what would they talk about? Who gives a rat's ass about Tampa? Tennessee? Colts? The Dallas Cowboys are what everybody wants to talk about and loves to talk about because they're America's team. The Dallas Cowboys make more money for people, not just the NFL, but all these talking heads and everything. The fact that in my basement every day, there's not been a day that I've missed doing videos. In the last year, think about that. And these aren't repeat videos. There's always something with the Dallas Cowboys. Now, last thing I'm going to touch on here a little bit, and I'll go into more details in a video about this. But a lot of people have been laughing at Jerry Jones about talking about extending Dak Prescott. Feel free to laugh now. Haters, go ahead, laugh. Laugh right now. But here's the thinking behind it, because I had to keep thinking about it, because at first I was like, we don't need to worry about extending Dak Prescott right now. We got till the end of next year. Why are we talking about this right now? I'm going to tell you why we're talking about this. Let me get rid of Skip. Let's see if I still have this, if it'll come up. This computer's kind of old. Here's the thing. The Washington Redskins screwed the pooch. Well, they always screw the pooch. The Redskins are always making the wrong moves. But you'll remember they franchise tagged Kirk Cousins not once but twice. They paid him $45 million for 2 years. And then they let him walk because if they franchise tagged him again, it was going to be $37 million. They could have signed him to a long-term deal that would have only been about $40 million, $40 million guaranteed, and had him for about 4 or 5 years locked up. But instead they said, you know what? We want to see a little bit more. We're not quite sure. He's better than RG3. He was a 4th-round draft pick, but we need to see a little bit more. And you know what? He went out. He played pretty well. Now we're talking about Kirk Cousins, who never beat Dak Prescott. Just FYI, Kirk Cousins is 0-4. Do I like Skip? Skip? I'm not a big fan of Skip. Kirk Cousins is 0-4 against Dak Prescott. Just saying. But because the Redskins didn't tie him to a long-term deal, he basically said, you ain't showing me no love, I'm going to walk. Now, in 1994, the salary cap came around. And Troy Aikman signed one of the first long-term deals and was the highest paid quarterback in the NFL because they signed him from 94 to 2000. And in 1994, you know what his salary was for the year? $1.7 million. $1.7 million. But since that time, price keeps going up on quarterbacks. Every year, it's a new contract because the price isn't going down on quarterbacks. The price is not going down. And to get anybody to play the position, you're paying a chunk of change. I mean, of course, you got Aaron Rodgers who signed the latest quarterback contract, $134 million contract, $78 million guaranteed. Matty Ice, before that, signed that $150 million contract, $30 million a year with 94 guaranteed. Kirk Cousins, fully guaranteed, $84 million. Jimmy Garoppolo off of 7 games got a $137 million contract. Matthew Stafford, $135 million, $27 a year. Derek Carr, before that, he was the highest paid for a minute, getting $25 million a year. You see my point? The price is continuing to go up. And right now, you look at Dak and say, well, Dak, we're going to extend you right now, but you ain't Aaron Rodgers. You ain't Matt Ryan. You're not Kirk Cousins. You're not Jimmy Garoppolo. Well, maybe you're Jimmy Garoppolo. He's injured. He can't take a hit. So you start looking at these numbers, and even as you go down the list, even a Joe Flacco costs you $22 million a year. Cam's $20 million. Now Tom Brady, that's a different story because he's already rich because of his wife. But even a Ryan Tannehill costs you $19 million a year. So you're looking at somewhere between, under Tom Brady, Ryan Tannehill. So you're saying about $20 million a year. I mean, Sam Bradford got $20 million to go to Arizona and played in 1 game and is gone. So if you look at extending him right now, then maybe you look at about a $20 million contract a year. However, hypothetically, let's say the Cowboys move on from Jason Garrett, or at least move on from Scott Linehan, and they get somebody who is like, say, a Norv Turner. Norv's not going to leave Carolina to come here to be the offensive coordinator, maybe for head coach, but not coordinator. But if you get somebody who can work with quarterbacks, you get Amari Cooper who starts learning the offense a lot better. You end up, Michael Gallup gets better. You get a guy who is a security blanket. And all of a sudden, Dak has a season that's like his rookie year next year. He's balling out. Well, this price is only going to go up. If he plays well next year, then you're talking about $30 million a year. And one of these things that happens when you end up paying a guy like, Alex Smith, Lord knows, he's getting $23 million right now. Alex Smith has less touchdown passes than Dak Prescott, just saying. He's getting $23 million a year. He's got 55 guaranteed. He's got a 4-year contract. Teams are hamstrung because of what they have to pay the quarterback. We were hamstrung because of Tony Romo's contract, along with Dez, along with DeMarcus Ware. And the one thing that Stephen Jones is about is we're not going to be in cap hell again. So if you go ahead and sign Dak while you've got $60-some million of cap room to a long-term deal, a 5-year, 4-year, 5-year deal at about $20 million a year, you're ahead of the curve. Everybody in here, look at this. Case Keenum's getting $18 million. Blake Bortles $17 million. Andy Dalton $16 million. You got to pay more than that for a quarter. Even if you say let's cut Dak and bring somebody else in here, you're still Tyrod Taylor's still getting $15 million. What's the difference of keeping a guy who's been in the system who has a winning record for 5 more a year? You paid 20-some for Tony every year. So that's the thinking of Jerry Jones. If I lock him up now, and I have to, say, in worst case, let's say worst case is Dak's not the guy, and next year he stinks. Well, you draft a quarterback, but guess what? If you move up in the draft and draft a guy, because he's on that rookie deal, he's not going to cost you an arm or a leg. So it's a gamble. He's rolling the dice that Dak is the guy, but it's not really that much risk. You may think I'm stupid, but I'm telling you, you got to pay somebody. And at least you know what you got with Dak, and maybe if you get some better coaching, you can get it, just bear with me here. I know I'm crazy. I know he missed a lot of shit yesterday. I know that. He needs work. He needs time. But the last 6 games, 9 TDs, 3 interceptions, 65% completions, 238 yards per game. I agree. The first 3 games of the season, let's pull those numbers up. The first 3 games of the season, I missed the super chat. Oh, damn. Sorry. I get rolling and talking and stuff, and I miss stuff. Forgive me. Whoever did the super chat, shout out to you. Let me see if I can roll back. Jay Hart, I wouldn't. You know what? I wouldn't mind. Although some guys, and thank you for the super chat, Jay Hart. Some guys are better offensive coordinators or defensive coordinators than head coaches. Rod Martinelli is incredible with working with the defensive line. That defense went from being the worst defense in the world in 2013 to now being a top 5, with basically Rod Martinelli doing the job. You know, the final touch was Chris Richard. But Rod Martinelli with the Lions as head coach, Norv Turner, everywhere he goes as an offensive coordinator, they're balling out. As a head coach of the Redskins, San Diego, yeah. So, would he be better than the Clapper? Definitely. Definitely. But the franchise, listen, but David Moore, the franchise tag's going to cost you about $30 million. And the problem with franchise tagging is, you see how DeMarcus Lawrence was like, okay, I'll take the tag this year, but I'm not taking the tag next year. You're setting up bad feelings. You're basically saying we don't really believe in you. Anyone better than Linehan and Garrett? Thanks. So yeah, anyone. Like I said, a ham sandwich would be better than Linehan and Garrett, I think. But if we look at Dak's statistics, and like I said, I said this before, and people are saying you're an idiot. But the first 3 games was 170, 160, and 168 yards. Yeah, clearly, that ain't NFL. That's not anywhere near. And we're not still anywhere near an NFL current offense. We got to do a lot better than what we're doing. But if you take those first 3 games out, it starts going up. 255, 208, 183, 273, 243, 270. So you're starting to get more and more yardage. You're seeing more and more touchdowns and less interceptions. In the last 4 games, he's only had 1 interception. Now, that's not to say that there couldn't have been a couple other ones just like everybody else. But what I'm saying is he's beginning to work better, and now he's got Amari Cooper. I think you're going to start seeing more games that are high 200s, and I think soon you're going to start seeing a 300 game. I thought last night was going to be it, and everybody said you were crazy. But his completion percentage yesterday, 72. 270 yards and a 102 QBR. It's not the worst thing in the world. Did he miss stuff? Is he micromanaged on every single? Yes, he is. But he's not regressing. He's going back uphill. Cowboys Crunk, how you doing tonight, man? I see Jesse. I see Justin. I see Young Wilson. How you doing? I see Shane. Cool Arrow. Cooper is a beast. Oh, man. Cooper, I'm telling you, we may look back and say that was one of the best moves that Jerry Jones did. Well, here's the other issue, too, that you got to look at. When you look at Riley coming in from Oklahoma, are you sure he wants to leave that $5 million a year where he's got complete run of the facilities and everything else to deal with this pressure cooker with the Dallas Cowboys? Thank you, Omar. I appreciate that. Go Cowboys through thick and thin. There you go. That's a true fan. Who wants to go through all this? Because I got to tell you, you guys are some rough fans. We win in Philadelphia. And you guys are still mad. Some of you guys, Dak's still. Can you be happy you got to win? Can you be happy we got to win? I mean, seriously. All it goes down is W. Dave, listen. I'm telling you, here's the thing. I know he is not Aaron Rodgers right now. All I know is the guy's a leader. People follow him. He wins. Cowboys D, I appreciate that. And you get him some coaching. You get him working with some Hall of Fame quarterbacks who will work with him. You do some better play calling. I still to this moment do not understand why we do not do more hurry up offense. Every time I see him in hurry up offense, that team is clicking, boom, 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 right down the field. He looks comfortable in hurry up offense. When he comes out of the huddle after a play that's been called from upstairs from Scott Linehan, you don't see confidence in him and what they are doing. The clapper, please get rid of him. Well, we'll have to wait and see. This game definitely saved it and cooled the seat down just a little bit. Jag, thank you. They should be happy. You beat the Super Bowl champions in their house. You at least quieted all the damn trolls for a week. Thank you. Well, maybe for a couple of weeks. And Shane, and that's what I'm saying. Understand that no quarterback is great at everything. You know the knock on Joe Montana was he did not have a strong arm. He couldn't throw deep. But they used him in an offense that was predicated on short passes, getting the ball and guys in space where they can make moves. Jerry Rice across the middle on the slant was deadly. And that's what made Joe Montana a great quarterback. It wasn't that he was lighting the ball 50 yards down the field. He couldn't do it. That's taking a guy and getting the most out of him with the skills that he has. We have our system that's old, and we keep trying to put everybody in there. This offense, and don't get me wrong, Tony Romo deserves more credit than he. I'm appreciating Tony Romo more and more because of what I see with Jason Garrett. Tony Romo is a great pocket quarterback. Tony Romo hid a lot of the deficits in this offense. Tony Romo made plays, not as the plays was drawn up, because he bought time, was able to hit the guys open and hit people's face. Things that happened because of time. But Tony Romo made a lot of mistakes too. That's the reason why they called him Tony Ono. But that's like every quarterback out there. But the problem has been is Jason Garrett has been continually looking for Tony Romo to walk in, and that's what they're trying to make Dak. But Dak's game is different. Dak is better when you move the pocket. Dak is better with run-pass options. Dak is better on the move. Dak is better with bootlegs. Dak is better with hurry-up. But we don't do those things that he's good at. We're still trying to say, you got to be Tony Romo. And that in lies the problem. That's why I think if you actually look at one of these college coaches that's more used to working with these younger guys who are used to doing things like the pistol offense, the run-pass options, that it's going to open up your offense like it is opened up for every other team other than the Dallas Cowboys. Exactly, Edwin. Room to cover up for the bad coaching. That is it 100%. But guys, how the time flies when you're having fun. Romo said around 2012 he finally polished his hand. Yeah, there you go. It takes time. It really does. And we're still only 2.5 years in on Dak Prescott. So give him a chance. And please, okay, if you want to hate Dak, please go ahead. Go hate on him. Like I said, I know he needs work. I'm not satisfied with where he is. But stop with the every damn day, Dak sucks, Dak sucks, Dak sucks. Man, get another hit. Come up with something else. If that's all you got to say, keep it to your damn self or go to another channel with it, okay? Because right now, I'm trying to look for a way to get a win. I'm trying to find a way that we can stay alive and keep having fun. Oh, Douglas Carter, Michael Gallup, again, he's got the tools too. It takes time for wide receivers to develop. One of the reasons why I say if Amari Cooper plays like he's playing now through the course of a season and things, plays like a Dez Bryant but catching the ball, then it was a good move. Because it takes a couple of years for wide receivers to develop. You look at the wide receivers that have been drafted over the last 3-4 years, you're still seeing they're okay, but they're not exactly game changers. And we need somebody right now that's going to start making changes, and he's already doing that. But guys, I want to thank everybody who supports this channel. Make sure you guys, I hope, thank some vets for all that they do. Thank you guys so much. This isn't just about a day of us getting off for work and everything, because I've worked my job, FYI. This is about thanking those veterans for all that they have done for keeping our American hope and dream alive. And I want to thank each and every one of you guys personally, because you guys sacrifice everything and put everything on the line for all of us. So I appreciate everything. And I appreciate all of you great fans that have supported this channel, with all the super chats and everything else, and bearing with me with all my brain farts and my issues of getting stuff going and things on the channel and stuff. Dak is an intelligent, athletic quarterback. They need to just let him be Dak. There you go. And that goes back to coaching. But anyway, guys, I'm tired, boss. These late night games are kicking my butt, man. I was hurting today going to work. I am literally going to go to bed. I had some material in here to do another video for tonight that I wanted to post, but I'm just tired, boss. And it's too damn hot. All right, I'll see you guys first thing in the morning with Don't Sleep on the Dallas Cowboys.